Señor. Mi fortaleza eres tú, Señor. Mi fortaleza eres tú. Porque tú me has dado la vida. Porque tú me has dado el existir. Porque tú me has dado cariño. Me has dado amor. Porque tú me has dado la vida. Porque tú me has dado el existir. Porque tú me has dado cariño. Me has dado amor.
Es el hombre que tuvo poder de andar sobre el mar. ¿Quién es el que puede hacer el mar callar? En el momento que la tempestad te quiera hundir, Él viene con toda autoridad y manda calma. ¿Quién es el hombre que tuvo poder de hacer a Israel caminar por entre las aguas del Mar Rojo? Hizo un camino en medio del mar para el pueblo de Israel pasar. Al otro lado, con sus pies secos, pudieron cantar el himno de victoria. Cuando no estés frente al mar y lo tengas que atravesar, llama a este hombre con fe, solo Él abre el mar. Hermano, no tengas temor, si detrás viene Faraón, al otro lado tú pasarás y allí tú vas a entonar el himno de victoria. Cada vez que el Mar Rojo tú tengas que pasar, llama siempre a ese hombre que te va a ayudar. En la hora más difícil es cuando Él te ve. Llama siempre a ese hombre que tiene poder. Si tú pasas por el fuego no te vas a quemar, y si pasas por las aguas no te ahogarás. Pasa como Israel que el mar atravesó, y en el nombre del Señor el himno de victoria del otro lado cantó. Y lo tengas que atravesar, llama a este hombre con fe, solo Él abre el mar. Hermano, no tengas temor, si detrás viene Faraón, al otro lado tú pasarás y allí tú vas a entonar el himno de victoria. Cada vez que el Mar Rojo tú tengas que pasar, llama siempre a ese hombre que te va a ayudar. En la hora más difícil es cuando Él te ve. Llama siempre a ese hombre que tiene poder. Si tú pasas por el fuego no te vas a quemar, y si pasas por las aguas no te ahogarás. Pasa como Israel que el mar atravesó, y en el nombre del Señor el himno de victoria del otro lado cantó. Del otro lado cantó. Del otro lado
Tengo todo, eres todo lo que necesito. Tú me llevas al lugar donde encontré descanso. Renuevas mis fuerzas, tú guías mis pasos. Renuevas mis fuerzas, tú guías mis pasos. Tu amor inagotable es, tu bondad me persigue, te persigo. En tu mesa me diste un lugar, me recibes en casa para siempre.
En tus brazos cada miedo y temor se apaga. Tú me enseñas a confiar cuando mi fe desmaya.
Renuevas mis fuerzas, tú guías mis pasos. Renuevas mis fuerzas, tú guías mis pasos. Oh, tu amor inagotable es, tu bondad me persigue, te persigo. En tu mesa me diste un lugar, me recibes en casa para siempre. Tu amor inagotable es, tu bondad me persigue, te persigo. En tu mesa me diste un lugar, me recibes en casa para siempre. Aunque pase por el valle de la sombra y muerte, ya no temo, yo confío, tú estás conmigo. Y si caigo o me pierdo, vienes a buscarme. No me olvidas y me encuentras y nunca te rindes. Tu amor inagotable es, tu bondad me persigue, te persigo. En tu mesa me diste un lugar, me recibes en casa para siempre. Tu amor inagotable es, tu bondad me persigue y te persigo. En tu mesa me diste un lugar, me recibes en casa para siempre.
Bueno, entonces ahora vamos a continuar con el juego bíblico. Entonces, si pueden agarrar un papel y un lápiz y Juan, si puedes compartir la imagen. Vamos a ver quién puede encontrar más palabras y les vamos a dar un tiempo tal vez como 3 minutos.
No, 5.
¿5?
5 minutos, es algo bastante.
Bueno, vamos a 3 minutos y luego vamos a ver 5, a ver cómo están. Y a ver quién encuentra más.
Okay.
Y los que están en Facebook también pueden ir apuntando las palabras que van encontrando para ver al final quién encuentra más.
Pásame la lista. ¿Qué palabras son? Pues aquí está el...
Ahí está.
Pero, ¿qué palabras?
Entonces, aquí, en la pantalla.
¿Cómo se llama eso? Sopa de letras. Pues es una sopa de letras.
Casi no la vemos aquí en Zoom.
O sea, hagan la pantalla así como speaker view y para que así se vean las letras más grandes.
A ver. Vamos. Desarrollo. A ver.
Tú me llevas.
Acaban de entrar, estamos buscando las palabras. Aquí es una sopa de letras, entonces vamos a ver quién encuentra más palabras.
Renuevas mis fuerzas, tú guías mis pasos. Tu amor inagotable es, tu bondad me persigue, te persigo. En tu mesa me diste un lugar, me recibes en casa para siempre.
En tus brazos, cada miedo y temor se apaga. Tú me enseñas a confiar cuando mi fe desmaya.
Renuevas mis fuerzas, tú guías mis pasos. Renuevas mis fuerzas, tú guías mis pasos. Oh, tu amor inagotable es, tu bondad me persigue, te persigo. En tu mesa me diste un lugar, me recibes en casa.
¿Cómo van? ¿Quién tiene más de 3? ¿Quién tiene más de 5?
We do.
¿No? A ver, ¿quién?
Alma.
No, tenemos 5.
Nosotros tenemos
Nosotros
6.
tenemos 13.
Damos,
Now.
¿quieren más tiempo o le cortamos ahí?
No, como tú quieras.
No, ya ganamos nosotros.
Y eso a ver si las tiene bien. Quiero ver tu hoja, Tony, si es cierto.
Enseña la hoja.
Enseña la hoja, Tony.
A ver. Mira, aquí las apuntamos al celular. Las apuntamos al celular, mira.
No, lo digo yo como somos una familia, 5.
Somos 3.
Ok, Tony, está bien, no importa, te creemos.
¿Qué pasó? Hola, Tony.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Está muy chiquita esa letra.
Vamos a mandar screenshot, pero
Fama, conquista, entender, sabiduría, compañerismo, determinación, desarrollo, cita, capacidad, conocimiento y sinceridad.
ahí está, pues.
Yeah, good job.
Entonces no fue Tony, fue Marcelo. Good job, Marcelo.
Ajá, ¿viste? Fue Marcelo.
Nosotros encontramos 6.
Sí. Ok, aquí 5, 6. Hermana.
Alma.
6.
6.
Estás en el team de los.
¿Quién encontró? A ver, ¿encontraron una experiencia?
No.
No.
Parece que nos falta experiencia para encontrar experiencia.
Ganamos experiencia, pero no encontramos la palabra.
No la encontramos.
Ok, voy a ir leyendo las palabras.
Oh, boy.
Hasta amistad, amor,
No.
capacidad,
Negative.
colaboración, compañerismo,
Yep.
Yeah.
comprensión,
No.
Comprensión. No.
Conocimiento, sí.
Yes.
Sí, conocimiento, sí.
crecimiento,
No.
desarrollo,
Desarrollo, sí.
Desarrollo, sí.
descubrimiento,
No.
determinación,
Terminación, sí.
dinamismo, Dios,
No.
entender,
No entendí.
Entender, sí.
espiritualidad, estudios, éxito, experiencia, familia, fuerza, futuro, hermandad, iglesia, inteligencia, Jesús, juventud, necesidad, presente, sabiduría, sinceridad y vigor.
¿Qué pasó con las que encontramos?
Nosotros encontramos juventud.
Amistad, juventud.
Así
Bueno.
que escuchamos decir eso. Decía, ¿qué?
Ha sido el juego bíblico y todo fue relacionado a los jóvenes.
All right.
Entonces ahora le doy el tiempo a Suyapa con...
Bueno, primeramente queremos dando la bienvenida a nuestros hermanos y jóvenes que nos ven por Facebook y en YouTube, que nos están viendo también. A nuestros participantes aquí en Zoom. Ok. En esta tarde queremos hacer un pequeño reconocimiento a 2 personas muy importantes en nuestras iglesias.
Correcto, así es. ¿Quiénes serán esas 2 personas?
Wow. ¿Quiénes son?
Los pastores.
Qué bien. Muy bien. Sí, el pastor Orlando González y el pastor
Rafael Morales. Así es que en esta tarde, pastor, gracias por acompañarnos. Sé que está por ahí. Si nos permite ver su cara, su rostro. Ahí está. ¡Yay!
Hola, pastor.
En esta tarde, pastor, el pastor Morales no pudo estar con nosotros, pero queríamos decirle No sé si lo ven. Este es uno de los rótulos que los jóvenes hicieron. Queremos decirles gracias por ese apoyo a nuestra juventud, por siempre empujarnos a pesar de que este año comenzamos que no sabíamos con nuestras ideas cómo iba a funcionar todo, pero estuvieron ahí para apoyarnos y todavía nos siguen apoyando. Y queremos que vean lo siguiente en esta tarde.
Muchas gracias, pastor.
Video, por favor. Pastor González, queremos decirle gracias por su apoyo. Sabemos que a veces no los sacrificios que nuestros pastores hacen, pero estamos muy agradecidos con Pastor Morales también.
Y pues también queremos obviamente agregar a Tony por ser el anciano de los jóvenes este año.
Tony, si podemos ver tu cara también, por favor.
Porque aunque ha sido un año bastante, no ha sido un año corriente, no ha sido un año extraordinario. Se han tenido que inventar muchas cosas para poder salir adelante. Y tú has pasado dificultades mayores también en tu familia, pero pues también has estado presente y has hecho lo necesario para poder apoyar a los jóvenes, así que se te agradece igualmente.
Y antes de que ellos tengan un minutito, pastor, y a todos los pastores, hay algo que nuestros jóvenes prepararon para ustedes. Juan.
Today is a very special day.
I thank all of our pastors for their services.
We appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you to all the pastors out there. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Happy Father's Day.
Feliz Día del Pastor, que Dios los bendiga grandemente. Y ahora sí tienen 30 segundos cada uno. No, mentira. Pastor González y después Tony.
Mi gratitud a Dios, mi alegría hoy, gracias por ese lindo detalle. Usted no sabe cuánto engordan los huesos, ¿ya? Después de una caminada de 40 años, continuar todavía colocando un granito de arena es para uno una gran satisfacción. Dios les guarde, mis jóvenes, Dios les bendiga, Dios me los proteja, y cuánto quisiera yo tener la energía que ustedes tienen, ¿ya? Pero ya algunas cosas ya nos faltan. Que el Señor me les bendiga y me les guarde.
Muchas gracias, pastor.
Gracias, pastor. Tony.
Gracias a ustedes por darme el privilegio este año de poder participar como ancianos jóvenes. Gracias, Suyapa, Javier, por trabajar con los muchachos. Pero nada de esto, por supuesto, se hubiera podido lograr sin el liderazgo de ustedes. Precisamente yo les comentaba a mis muchachos, a mis hijos, de lo importante que es trabajar en la salud espiritual de los muchachos jóvenes, porque tenemos que crear un buen fundamento espiritual para que entonces ellos puedan ser realmente el liderazgo actual y futuro de nuestra iglesia. Y también les comentaba precisamente que estamos en el mes de la apreciación, la semana de apreciación de los pastores. Pastor, muchas gracias. Se dice poco, no sé, esta semana, yo me enteré precisamente porque leí una de las revistas que manda la conferencia y dije, ¿cómo es posible que no se hace más algarabía al respecto, no? Los pastores este año han tenido un año muy duro lidiando con todo esto de la pandemia, con decisiones muy importantes. Pastor, muchas gracias. Mi reconocimiento, mi agradecimiento por ser nuestro pastor y por toda la labor que usted hace. Gracias.
Bueno, no queríamos, como dijo Tony, dejar pasar, ya estamos casi al último sábado del mes, pero se pudo hacer, pastores, a Pastor González, Pastor Morales, Tony, a todos los ancianos de nuestra iglesia. Feliz Día del Pastor o feliz mes del Pastor. Que Dios los siga bendiciendo y usando grandemente en su ministerio.
Amén.
Entonces ahora vamos a continuar con la música especial que lo va a tener Joana Rivera y Debbie Campos.
Rey de mi corazón, agua que sacia mi sed, monte al que subiré, oh mi canción. es Dios, bueno es Dios, oh, bueno es Dios. Tú no me fallarás, tú nunca me fallarás. 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 Bueno es Dios, oh, bueno es Dios, 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 bueno es Dios. Tú no me fallarás, tú nunca me fallarás. Bueno es Dios, tú no me fallarás, tú nunca me fallarás. Bueno es Dios, tú no me fallarás, tú nunca me fallarás. Bueno es Dios, tú no me fallarás, tú nunca me fallarás. Bueno es Dios, oh, bueno es Dios, bueno es Dios, oh, bueno es Dios, bueno es Dios, oh, oh, bueno es Dios, oh, bueno es Dios.
Amén.
Hermoso.
Ahora vamos a ver un video por los jóvenes que va relacionado con el tema. Entonces se les hizo unas preguntas. Entonces vamos a ver sus entrevistas.
Well, the first thing that catches my attention is how their personality is, how they act towards me, if they're nice, you know, communicative. You know, if we could like instantly make a bond, it's a 100 for me. That makes them get closer to me and get closer with them and have like a good friendship.
Something that makes me want to like become friends immediately would be like if the person is easygoing, like if they're involved with other people. When they're shy, it just makes it harder for me to also get close because I tend to be a little shy sometimes. So I think when it's like both, when it's reciprocal and we're both outgoing, it's a lot easier for me to become friends with that person.
Hearing them out and like their problems they have and giving them advices.
Well, always, you know, talking to the person if they have like a problem with, you know, between us, if they want to solve it, I'm always there. I'm always an open person. I'm always open for discussions, you know, talking about issues that we have or we might have, anything like that.
Como llamarles, por ejemplo, o mandarles un mensaje de texto de cómo están, cómo le ha ido en esta semana o en este día. O igual, por ejemplo, tengo un amigo que trabaja en un restaurante, rara vez lo visito, y ya, por ejemplo, como a comer y paso ya a visitarlo.
I think a good key for staying close with your loved one or your friend is good communication, it is important to like just talk to them, or a good phone call. You know, usually I like to FaceTime my friends because I don't get to see them most of the time. But yeah, a simple text as well, like, hey, good morning, have a good day, or just I hope you enjoy your day, is very important as well.
Their confidence and their outgoing when they want to go do stuff.
So that's a little bit de lo que compartieron los jóvenes acerca de amistades. Y ahora me gustaría introducir a Julian Tinoco. Hi, Julian. Julian y yo estábamos en la misma iglesia en San Pablo, en Minnesota. Sé que estudió en... se me fue el nombre de la escuela. Maplewood Academy. Pero más de ahí ya no supe dónde estudió y qué es lo que hace ahora. Entonces, Julian, si nos puedes contar un poco de ti.
Sí, hola, buenas tardes a todos ustedes. Como dijo Zulma, mi nombre es Julian Tinoco. Actualmente, bueno, les quiero dar la bienvenida desde mi cuarto, desde mi my dorm room. Currently, I'm in Andrews University. So aquí ando estudiando psicología y mi otra licenciatura en español. Así que ando estudiando 2 licenciaturas actualmente. Y sí, no, como Zulma dijo, nosotros fuimos a la misma iglesia. Creo que hasta Zulma me vio cuando yo era bien chiquitito. Así que, so like, she has seen me grown throughout the years. But I'm like very happy and, you know, very thankful for her to extend the invitation for me to speak with you guys this morning. Yo no sé, Zulma, if you had to say anything else, or should I just go ahead?
No, you can go ahead.
Bueno, entonces para comenzar, ¿por qué no inclinamos el rostro y así podemos comenzar abriendo la palabra de Dios? Señor, gracias por el lindo sábado que nos has dado. Gracias por todos los que nos ven en línea. Gracias por que nos tienes con vida, aquí listos para adorarte otro sábado más. Te pido, Señor, que al abrir tu palabra pueda todo lo que salga de mi boca sea de acuerdo a lo que tú quieres que yo diga y no que sean mis palabras, Señor. Así que, por favor, bendiga este programa y gracias, Señor, otra vez por todo lo que nos das y especialmente, como estuvieron diciendo hace poco, por los pastores, Señor. Quiero que, por favor, bendigas a cada uno de los pastores ahí en Atlanta, al igual que todos los pastores alrededor de los Estados Unidos y del mundo también. En el nombre de Jesús te lo pido. Amén. Bueno, entonces, ¿por qué no comenzamos abriendo nuestras Biblias en el libro de Proverbios, capítulo 17, versículo 17? So I won't be reading in English, pero los que quieran follow along, it's going to be in Proverbs 17:17, Proverbios 17, versículo 17. Y mi versión dice así: A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Hoy me pidieron de hablar sobre las amistades y creo que todos, I would hope everybody, has some sort of amistad, some sort of friendship that they would, that they have at the moment. I know throughout the years, maybe you've seen friends come and go as you enter to like a new church or a new school, or, you know, you move to just a complete different state. There's always some sort of friendship or connection that you have as you're growing up, as you're maturing and, you know, living life. Even adults have friends. Yeah, believe it or not, young people, adults do have friends too. And I think something that is very important, or something that's very, I would say, critical to young people today, is that we tend, and I'm speaking for myself here, I don't want to generalize, but at least for me, I want to be able to be friends with everybody. Anybody that I come in contact to, I want to make sure I make a good impression no matter what. So then it comes, you know, you when you confront a situation in where, let's say you try to open up to somebody or trying to be friends with somebody, but then maybe that person is like, whoa, you're maybe a little too much, you know, or you have that sort of rejection of social rejection. Maybe you feel like you don't really fit in either in a friend group or just with a person that you just want to get to know. And, you know, interestingly enough, since I'm studying psychology, I find these things very interesting. There's a part in our brain called the anterior insula and the anterior cingulate cortex, which is like, you know, if I try to locate it here, that activates the pain receptors. So like when we feel pain, cuando nos machucamos el dedo, or when we stub our toe, you know, that part of the brain starts to lighten up. And that same part of the brain lightens up when we feel some sort of emotional or social rejection. So as you can see, when somebody feels a type of rejection, it's not only like oh, that sucks. Like your body actually feels the pain, and it resonates with you. It can stay with you. I know that growing up, I guess I still am. I'm that little awkward person, you know. When I want to meet somebody new, I try to do whatever, but like at times it can be kind of awkward, especialmente con el COVID. Ahorita no sabemos si abrazarnos, si darnos la mano, si el elbow. Especialmente cuando uno se acerca a la persona, uno dice, oh, hey man, how's it go? Oh, do I just no? Yes? Oh, I don't know, awkward, you know. So it's especially during the times that we live in now, it's completely new. It's just strange. And like I said, person. So when you feel when you hit that social rejection, it does kind of hurt a bit, you know. En otras palabras, el rechazo social activa la misma parte de nuestro cerebro en que se siente el dolor físico. I don't know how to say the anterior cingulate cortex in Spanish, because that's like, I feel like that's very like, whoa. But yeah, it's quite interesting. And I guess I want to give you guys a conclusion now, just to make sure you guys don't miss the point. But the person who will never reject us, we already know this, is Jesus Christ, God himself. He will never reject us, no matter how awkward we are, no matter what our past is or what we are going through at the moment. And as we continue in our study today, I want to open up our Bibles again. Let's look in the book of Luke, Lucas capítulo 10, y vamos a leer una historia que casi todos conocemos ya para este punto. Casi cualquier adventista, cualquier cristiano, cualquier seguidor de Cristo ya conocerá esta historia. Relata la historia diciendo que tenemos like a very studious person, a scholar, who comes up to Jesus. You know, these scholars back in the day, at least the ones that try to, you know, were a little skeptical of Jesus and the stuff that he was doing, they would come up and ask him things to try and trap him, just to make sure to see if Jesus was a legit man, or you know, if he was doing the right stuff. So if we look in Luke chapter 10, verse 25, Lucas capítulo 10, versículo 25, voy a comenzar leyendo y dice, and a lawyer stood up and put him to the test, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? And then Jesus says, what is written in the law? How does it read to you? And so he says, well, you know, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and most importantly, love your neighbor as yourself. And so Jesus continued on and saying, you have answered this correctly. Do this and you will live. Pero dice la Biblia that this lawyer tried to say, and at least in my version, he was wishing to justify himself. He was about this question that's going to come up. He wanted to ask it in a way that, you know, would make him look good. Like, okay, you know, he wasn't really genuinely asking out of his pure heart. He says, and he asked Jesus, and who is my neighbor? And this is where we come up with the story of the Good Samaritan. We all know the Good Samaritan. You know, in summary, I don't think we have to read it, but we know that we have this one man that was traveling to Jericho, and all of a sudden, these gang of robbers just jump him, and they start, you know, pounding him. They start ripping it off his clothes, and they just leave him there for dead. And interestingly enough, we have the first person who passes by, if I believe, is the prophet, if I'm not a prophet, the priest, I'm sorry, if I'm not mistaken, the priest is the first guy that walked down. He saw him and he just kept on going. And then now we have a Levite, which is one of the most important people in the Jewish culture back in the day. So we have the Levite walking by, and he also passes by as if nothing happened. He just, turned the other way. And then now we have the Samaritan, which, interestingly enough, is the person that you would least expect to help somebody else. Because back in the day, if you guys didn't know already, the Samaritans were people that the Jewish hated. They said that we don't want any relationship with those people. But yet God, or Jesus in this case, he talks about the Samaritan and how he helped out. So then at the end of the story, Jesus says, well, who is the neighbor in this scenario? And then the lawyer, the lawyer in the beginning of the story says that, well, the guy who showed mercy. I feel like, interestingly enough, this lawyer, this studious person who knew the laws and all of that, he didn't really say the Samaritan. He just says the guy who showed mercy. But why do you think he didn't say the Samaritan? How to be a friend. I think I really like the questions that they gave, that Sulma gave in Norte for the interviews. I thought it was very interesting to see. I think first and foremost, a friend, I think, is your friend when you're in constant connection with them, when you're always talking with them. I know here in Andrews, there's always somebody that you know. There's always somebody that you hang out with, or at least for me. I don't know if I can speak for other people, but there's always somebody when I walk out the door I can say hi to, or somebody, like, if I'm bored for some reason, I can just text and hit them up, okay, let's go do something. I don't know. And I think I heard one of the young people say, a friend will always text you at least a good morning and, FaceTime you and whatnot. And that is true. And I think if we want to compare that to the spiritual life, if we want to have a closer connection with friends, well, I guess with our true friend, Jesus Christ, we have to have that constant connection with him. But, I feel like we always tend to think friends as I hope you guys don't get me the wrong way, or don't twist my words, but like, we tend to see friends in a selfish sort of way. Like, we want friends how we think a friend should be. We want friends to benefit us. We don't really think about how to be a friend to others. We want others to be friends to us. And I don't want to come off as a selfish or a jerky type of person, but I feel like my friendships throughout my life, they usually come to me. I feel like I rarely go out and go out of my way to say hi. Like, again, in the beginning I did say I was an awkward person, but that's usually because, I tend to stay back and reserve, so that hopefully, and kind of open so that people can come to me and say hi to me, but like, that's why I tend to just be reserved and have hopefully somebody else say something. So in that way, we can kind of see that little selfish aspect of me, so why is it that we don't really think about us being a friend to others? The Pathfinder law says, be a servant of God and a friend to man. Seré siervo de Dios y amigo de la humanidad. So how we always think about how a friend should be to us, but we don't really think about how we should be friends to others. And a friend is to be available. We saw that in the story of the Good Samaritan. Even though the Samaritan may have not known the man that had been beaten at all, he was there. He was available. So was the priest. So was the Levite. But what did they do? They just passed along and like nothing happened. We have, I don't know about you guys, but throughout lifetime, I'm sure there's people that have disappointed you. Maybe you were going through a hard time and maybe you try to reach out to somebody and for XYZ reason, they're just like, oh, okay, I'll pray for you, but they didn't really go out of their way to just make sure that you're okay. They just, pushed you out of there and just carried along and moved on to their way. But a friend is to be available. I think I'm that type of person where I always want to be available for my friends. but that can be a little dangerous, because then you tend to over prioritize your friends, and then you lose the sight of who you are as a person. You know, over this, I would say last week, I had, I was trying to help out a friend with something, and with an issue they were going through. And I believe that I could have instructed them to, you know, reach out to other friends that they had, because I know they had other friends, but I wanted to be that friend, you know. But interestingly, I had 2 papers to write for the next day. I had that whole week, but you know, as a typical college student, one tends to procrastinate a little bit. So I had that assignment that whole week, 3 papers for the same class that I hadn't done, and I just chose to be free and open for that one friend. And I just blocked it out of my mind. And then when I realized, oh shoot, what am I doing? This paper is due. All these 3 papers are due tomorrow. And believe it or not, yes, I did take an all-nighter. You know, I did not go to sleep till like 6 in the morning. I started writing these papers at like 11. Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I know I should be sleeping early. But you know, I'm probably not going to hear the end of it after this. But yes, being available for your friends is important. But at the same time, I want to caution you to make sure you know your priorities as well. It is not bad. You're not a horrible person if you choose like, hey, we can talk about this after I do so and so, you know? A friendship is having compassion. Compassion is, I think, one of the most important things. I don't know if you guys have seen the shirt that say compassion. I think they were giving them out a few years ago in Oshkosh of 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was a big thing. And compassion, I feel like slowly but surely we're losing that aspect of life, of how we treat others. We tend to joke around with our friends, and we just like, you know, we tease them a little bit. But maybe we don't understand that in the way that we tease them, in the way that we laugh with them, we're kind of unintentionally hurting them. We're not showing that true compassion as a friend should have or should be doing. Being a friend is meeting people where they are at. I think super, super important that a lot of people nowadays, especially, you know, because of COVID, we know that statistically speaking, there have been a lot of increases of like depression and anxiety because of being enclosed into a space. And being open to be vulnerable to somebody and saying, hey, I'm going through something. Could you please help me out with this? I think a lot of people have not really done that. And if you are going through something, I just want to pause real quick and say, hey, you know, it's okay to get help. It's okay to ask a trusted adult, a trusted friend that, hey, I need help, counseling, you know, anything like that. That's extremely important. So if you are, prayer, church is amazing. And I will not say anything against that, but also doctors are there to help you too. So I just want to close parentheses on that. But meeting people where they're at. A lot of young people nowadays, we are afraid to be judged. I know that in growing up in a Hispanic church, you know, we always have that, oh, you know, I don't really speak good Spanish. And, you know, then we have esos hermanitos que salen a burlarse. They don't mean bad or anything by it, but, you know, it's a little, going back on the whole having compassion thing, it can be a little it can break a little young person's heart, you know, especially when they are born in a country where the primary language is English. And they're now raised in a church and le exigen que hablen español al frente de todo el público, or read the Bible, which is probably one of the most scariest things, because the Bible don't be having the simple English, the simple Spanish words like ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? You know, they be having these big words como, I don't know, I'm out of the big words, I'm blanking right now, but as young people, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I was trying to think right now of a big Spanish word, but I just completely blanked. But, you know, as being able to to meet people where they're at is extremely important in creating a basis for good friendships, for good friendship bonds. And if you don't do that, you automatically create a barrier between these two worlds. It becomes a us versus them kind of thing, you know. And I know that in our churches that has been a big divisive thing, the whole language barrier. And you know, as time progresses, I have seen churches come together with the young people. I did my research a little bit, Atlanta, North Atlanta, and I think you guys are amazing with how you guys are treating your youth, and I love that, and I admire you guys for that. And I wish every church were like that, but unfortunately, a lot of churches, you know, it's hard. A lot of churches are losing their young people because they haven't established that connection, that friendship. You know, I feel like as young people, we're afraid to interact with the adults because they're not going to understand us. They're not understand what we go through. And you know what? You're probably right. But do we understand them? You know, they always talk about how they used to live their life, but we never talk about, but we never let them talk to us about how they used to be their life, or we never talk to them about how our life is now. You know, it takes two people. A friendship is a relationship, and in a relationship, it takes two, not just one side. So just as we would like young people, we would like the adults to reach out to us, we also have to reach out to them as well. It's not just I'm just going to sit here, you know, don't pull a me and hope that friends come to you. And you have to actually go out and do something, be active. You know, you can't make an impact if you don't act, you know. Going back on the Bible, on the versículo that I spoke this morning, en todo tiempo ama al amigo, y es como un hermano en tiempo de angustia. A friend, you gotta love a friend at all times, all the time, because a friend is what will keep you going. And now, ojo, because some friends will take advantage of how you live your life. Be very cautious of how you choose your friends. I think I have the privilege, or I thank God and my parents for the opportunity that I'm able to study in an Adventist college. Though I'm not saying that public colleges are bad, you know. I actually think that there's a lot of great opportunities in public colleges as well. But I think one of the greatest advantages that I see in being in an Adventist education, especially in university, is that I'm able to meet friends who also may have probably gone through the same path as I have, you know, have probably felt like the churches maybe have not really had that connection with their young people. Some of my friends did have that awesome connection. And other of my friends didn't really, and just, you know, were the ones that would stay home after church, or like go straight home after church and just, you know, chill, which is totally fine, you know. But then we're open to those conversations, and we're able to brainstorm and ideas of how we can move on and create this impact so that we can become a community, and we can work together, young and old. I'm not calling adults old, just saying this is just more, I should say, experienced. Young and experienced folks to work together for the common goal, which is to share the gospel. You know how much easier it is to share the gospel when you have that nice friendship, that friendship that is an unbreakable bond. Right now I'm thinking of one of my closest friends who I grew up with since kindergarten. Every day I'm coming back to that young person that said that we FaceTime or you know, we send each other a text every now and then. That's an amazing character trait to have in a friend. And you know, when is the last time that we did that with God? I feel like sometimes God is that guy that's at home, or that one friend that's just waiting in the car, expecting us to like get in so we can drive off somewhere. You know, that's kind of me with my dad's a pastor. So every time church was over, you know, the pastors, how they be, we're trying to get home to eat, but, you know, pastors be like, okay, ahorita voy a hablarle con nuestros hermanos rapidito, voy a saludar. So, cuando dicen saludar, tienen que saludar a toda la gente de la iglesia. So, we're just like, okay, we'll just wait in the car. We'll just see how this goes, you know? But yeah, when's the last time that we had a close communication with God? When's the last time we checked up on God? I know God doesn't need any checkup on, but you know what I mean, in the sense of that communication. To be frank and honest with and transparent with all you guys, my daily devotion with God isn't the greatest at the moment, as it should be, as it should have been before. I know, comparing myself with how life was even during quarantine, you know, thank God for quarantine, because I feel like that was a big awakening moment for a lot of people in terms of trying to get back to that close devotional, with having that close relationship with God. But because of, you know, and I'm not going to give excuses here, because we have time for friends, we have time for homework, we had time to go out and do stuff, but sometimes we forget to have time for God. And God is literally the only friend who will never, ever fail you whatsoever. I am that friend, or you will have friends that at some point they will disappoint you. I'm sorry to let you guys know about that, but your friends will disappoint you. And that's a fact. But that's okay, because we're human. It happens. But that one friend, that one true friend that will never forsake you is Jesus Christ. And I know you guys know this by now. I know you've heard it since you were in cuna, since you were in primarios. But sometimes I feel like you don't, like we don't understand, or we can't comprehend how amazing that is. A really quick story. The other day I went out running. I started running this semester because of COVID. There's a lot of things in our campus that are unfortunately closed, so you can't really do much in terms of like social activities. So I started running. One of my roommate here, his name is Elijah. He helped me in keeping that accountability with running. And let me tell you guys, I'm the least active person ever. I would rather eat, go out to McDonald's, than go out and, like, you know, do a push-up or something. But so this semester running, that was something new that I had never crossed my mind. Before, people would ask me, let's go run, Julian, let's go play basketball, let's go do something. No, I'm that kind of guy that likes to stay in his room, watch some TV, or like watch some shows, or who knows, procrastinate. That's me. So running was a big lesson for me, because when I first started, we usually run 2 miles. When we started, we run 2 miles nonstop. And it was, let me tell you, hermanos, lo peor. Fue la cosa más horrible que he hecho. Y my legs, I couldn't feel them by the end of the run. I remember there was a point in the run, though, where I just couldn't. I'm like, Elijah, I gotta stop right now. I can't do this no more. But then he would grab me. He kept pushing me, like, no, we're still doing this. You got this. Let's go. Come on. Let's do it. I'm like, no, I can't. My legs literally hurt. I'm going to just collapse by now. He's like, no, you got this. We're literally almost there. It's 1.9 miles. Just 0.10 miles more. You got this. 0.10 miles more. Oh, my goodness. And this guy, he would grab me, and he grabbed me, and we were running. And as soon as we hit that finish line, or the end of the 2 miles, I'm like, wow. But you don't know the joy that I felt, and the fact that I could say I ran 2 miles nonstop. It was probably one of the worst times, but I ran 2 miles nonstop. And that is the way Jesus is. You know, life right now sucks. COVID sucks right now. In fact, you know, thank God for Zoom and the technology that we have to be able to converse, you know, and be able to have these types of programs and be able to connect from different parts of the world. Like, I'm over here in Andrews, Michigan, and you guys are over there in Atlanta. Like, that's so cool, you know? But because of COVID, life just sucks. And I'm not just saying because of COVID. I'm sure there's other things that, on top of COVID, that have made things worse. And, like, God will never leave you. God is that guy. God is like my friend that is just grabbing you by the back and just pushing you until you hit those 2 miles. And by the time that you hit those 2 miles, you were like, wow, I actually did that. And I didn't do it by myself. If I were running by myself, I would have probably stopped by, like, not even 0.5 miles. I probably would have stopped, like, after, like, the first lap, or by the time I hit a corner or something. I'm like, okay, I'm done here. I did my workout. But no, you have to have, or you have that accountability. God is that accountability that will help you push forward to that finish line. That accountability that we have, we can find it here. All the stuff that we need to do, we need to focus on. This is important, guys. And whether if it's here or if it's here, you have to read it. You have to get to your devotionals. Something that I like to do, and if you guys have it, the Bible app is amazing. The Bible app gives you the verse of the day, and it gives you a short devotional. Like literally, it's 1 minute devotional done by a random Christian artist, even a Christian pastor, and it gives you like a short prayer at the end that you can do yourself, and it's very nice. Like it's literally will take up 5 minutes of your time, and if you can take 5 minutes procrastinating on your homework, 5 minutes skipping ads on YouTube, or whatever it is, you can take literally 5 minutes to spend your time with God. And those 5 minutes, I trust me, they will turn into 10 minutes. 10 minutes will turn into 20 minutes. Sooner or later, you won't even keep a track of time of how long you're talking about. But you got to stay consistent about it. You just got to stay consistent. And when those days you're having the worst days, God will come in clutch, and He will text you. Interesting story. Quick pause. Quick testimony moment. One day, I had one of the worst days. I don't know why, but it was just one of the worst days. This was like 5 years ago. And I was at that point where I'm like, Jesus, are you, do you even love me? I remember asking my mom in the car, like, Mom, how do you even know that Jesus loves you? And I went to church that day, back in St. Paul. I went to church that day. It was a miércoles. Hermanos don't really go to church of the miércoles, and it's like one of those, very, very, it was a slow night. And when I get there, I receive a text. It's unknown. I have no number. And like, it just literally says unknown. And the text says, I kid you not. It gives me goosebumps now thinking about it. It said, Jesus loves you. That day, like, I wanted to cry. I wanted like, wow, I just got a text from God. Like, literally. Whether if it was a text from God or not, that was Jesus. When you have that close relationship with God, He will text you, and He could text you. He could show you in many ways through music, through a sermon, through even like something a friend says. He will use your friends to tell you about His love for you. A friend will love at all times. A friend will love at all times. No matter what you go through, no matter what your past may be, no matter who you are as a person, a friend will love you and accept you. And that one true friend is Jesus Christ, who died and is looking forward to seeing you again in heaven, face to face. And I hope, my prayer is that each and every one of you, other than choosing great friends, are able to connect with Jesus, who will help you also know who your true friends are. He's your wingman, and He will help you throughout anything and everything that you go through in life. So that is mi llamado. And also, I want to say, young people, don't be afraid to be friends with the adults in church. I feel like that can be a little intimidating, but it's nice to have adult friendships, because they have the experience, and they have really good advice. If you believe me or not, they have really good advice, and you can learn a thing or two from them. So yes, that's my little talk. I hope that you guys were blessed by it, and I hope that you guys, as always, keep on continuing with the work, with having a relationship with God. And kudos to all of you young people that are still in the church and are still doing great things for God. And if anything, I'm here in Andrews. If one of you guys decide to come to Andrews, hit me up, and we can keep on having conversations like this. And I guess to end things off, why don't we have a quick word of prayer? And yeah. Dear God, thank you for speaking to us this afternoon. I hope what I said was understood, was understandable, and people were able to hear you and not me. I pray, Lord, especially that you may help us be good friends. We love to have friends. I know I do. I love to have a person, but sometimes we forget how to be a friend ourselves. So I pray, Lord, that if for some reason or whatever we've done, Lord, I want to ask for forgiveness, because maybe there's something that we have done in terms of like hurting others, or maybe even close friends that we didn't know. I pray that you may please forgive us so that we can continue on doing the work that you want us to do, Lord. Show us if we're doing something wrong so that we can fix it in terms of our character and personality, so that we can reach out to those who may not have any close friends. I want to also continue to pray for la Iglesia de Atlanta Norte, and a big blessing upon their church and all that they do, Lord. And I just want to thank you again for the wonderful day that you've given us all. Please be with all young people. Please be with all the church members. Please be with me and all of my studies as well. And again, Lord, thank you for all that you do for us, even though we know that we don't deserve it. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Gracias, Julian. Gracias por el tema. Lo disfrutamos aquí. Valerie was having several laughs. Entonces, ahora, no sé, Suyapa, si tienes algunos anuncios.
Sí. Julian, te quiero decir thank you so much. It was a great message. And like Zulma said, my daughter too is having a giggle. Oh, we're having a giggle. But it was a blessing. So, esperamos tenerte nuevamente. Zulma nos tiene que dar tu contacto para que nos vuelvas otra vez a visitar desde Andrews. Saludes al pastor. Oh my God, I forgot his name. Can't believe that. Anyway, you know who's the pastor for Pioneer. I forgot his name.
Dwight,
there you go. Thank you. All right, quick. Solo unos dos anuncios cortitos. Nuestra próxima programación va a ser noviembre 7 a las 5 de la tarde vía Zoom, vía Facebook Live y YouTube Live, ¿ok? Gracias a todos por los que nos acompañaron, tanto a través de Facebook, YouTube. Y lo otro es que no sé cuántos de ustedes pudieron seguir esta semana en El Gozo. Fue una campaña evangelística de la División Norteamericana juntamente con la Unión del Sur, y lo pueden ver en pantalla. Hoy fue el final, una hermosa predicación, jóvenes.
Así es.
Así que queremos compartir a los que no pudieron verlos o no pudieron seguirlos durante la semana. Pueden entrar a Esperanza TV en Facebook o en YouTube, y pueden seguir también al pastor Arnaldo Cruz o al pastor Roger Hernández, y ahí van a estar los videos de temas relevantes para nuestros jóvenes, y como padres y adultos también mucha información.
Como ustedes ven ahí en el título, dice, encuentra tu propósito. O sea, cuando ustedes vean los temas de cada día y cuando vean el cierre, se van a dar cuenta de cómo todo enlaza día con día, y al final realmente cómo nosotros todos Dios tiene un propósito para nuestras vidas. Somos hechos únicos, somos hechos especiales, no somos hechos, digamos, simplemente todos para un grupo y nada más todos con el mismo propósito, sino que cada cual Dios tiene un propósito para cada uno de nosotros, y lo puede descubrir de muchas maneras, pero estos temas tienen mucha información para cada uno de nosotros.
Así que les recomiendo, si no lo pudieron ver durante esta semana, como les dije, los videos ya están. Pueden verlo, pueden compartirlo con sus hijos. Se los recomendamos porque fue una semana muy bendecida, que tocó vidas de muchos, 300 grupos pequeños.
Así es.
De jóvenes.
A través no solamente de Estados Unidos, sino que a través de a toda América, y aún fuera del continente americano estuvieron participando.
Exacto. Así que les invitamos a que lo veamos. Y Zulma, gracias por el programa de esta tarde, y a todos que nos acompañaron. Que tengan una feliz semana. Dios les bendiga. Cuídense mucho. Besos y abrazos virtuales. Chao.
Hasta la próxima.
Adiós.